Hi, welcome to your Promethean panel using an OPS-A brain. I'm Tiffany, PD Specialist from Advent Tech, and let's do a quick tour of your Promethean board. First things first, let's make sure that your Google account is logged in on this screen. So navigate to this button, which is your app tray, or some people call it your locker. Click on that and scroll to Settings. Click the Settings button, and you can go to Passwords and Accounts, and then Add Account. You can see that my account is already on the board as well as another user. And this is something unique to the Promethean board. You can actually have multiple users signed in at the same time, which is pretty cool if you have floating teachers or you have multiple, teachers using the same board in the same classroom. But a word of caution, make sure that you are signing out of your account anytime you leave the room, because you wouldn't want just anybody to be able to have access to your Google account, your Gmail, your Google Calendar, your Google slideshows, anything like that. So make sure that you're signing in and out after every time you leave the room. But once you've clicked Add Account and signed in, all of your Google settings should be there. We'll go over that in just a minute. But first, I want to show you the buttons here on the screen. So this is the power button. That's pretty self-explanatory. You also have a freeze button. I'll explain what that is in a second. Volume up and down, which is pretty handy if you're watching a YouTube video or playing music on your board. The next button is the no touch button. So I want to explain the difference between the freeze button and the no touch button. Both have similar functionality but are a little bit different. Both are great if you want to leave the room, to use the restroom, or if you just don't, for some reason, you don't want anybody to be able to touch or manipulate your board. You can click either of those buttons. The first one, the freeze button, looks like a little snowflake. When you push it, you can see that it will tell you that freeze is on, and that means the screen is frozen. But I just clicked on my slides. Now, it didn't actually pull up my slide because the screen is frozen, but any input that you give the screen, such as clicking on an app, is going in. So when you unfreeze, you can see that it actually did navigate to my slides. So that is the freeze button, whereas the no touch button, when you turn that on, you can see touch is off. If I click on one of the apps, it isn't taking any input in. Still, the screen is frozen. No one can touch anything. No one can do anything. But the input is not being taken in. So when I turn touch back on, you can see nothing has changed. So that's the difference between those two buttons. You also have this menu where you can adjust the brightness, you can adjust the sound, you can adjust the source here on that menu. And you have the source button. Right now we're using the OPS, but if you want to switch over to using an HDMI cable and plugging in your computer, you can easily do that here. Okay, next we have the home screen. Your home screen will look a little bit similar to this, but you might have a different wallpaper. To change your wallpaper, hold down at the bottom of the screen, and you can see wallpaper and style will pop up. You can click that and change your wallpaper to whatever you choose. There's lots of options. You'll probably have this Google browser that's native to your board, as well as the calendar or the clock right here. And those are probably not going to be able to be adjusted or changed. So this is my home page. I have other pages that I can access by just swiping through. This is where we can download any apps that we might use on a regular basis in our classroom. For example, I love to use Google Classroom. I love to use Google Slides. So I've actually downloaded those apps on the Play Store. You're also going to want to download your Google Workspace. To download apps, go to the Play Store. So in the Play Store, you can either search for a particular app, or if you want to explore what there is, under Explore Apps, there's actually an education button. And this will bring up all kinds of educational apps that you may or may not have heard of that might help you. Let's say I want to download ABC Mouse. Click Install. Now this app was dropped not into my home screen, but if I want it on my home screen, I can just click and drag it over to my home screen. There's a spot for it right here. Now I have access to it right here on my home screen, or I can keep it on this screen if I'd rather. The cool thing about downloading an app like Google Slides is I don't have to connect my computer using an HDMI cord. I can go ahead and access all of my Google Slides right here on my home screen. And today I want to show my class my Google slideshow about William Shakespeare. I can present it. To move from slide to slide, I just swipe. Now, if I want to navigate back to my home screen at any time, I can pull up from the bottom, and these 3 buttons should appear. This circle button is my home screen button. I click it, and I automatically go back to my home screen. This arrow is my back button. So if I want to go back to what I was doing before, click back. And this square is my recents button. It'll show me all the apps that I've recently used. So you can click that, and that'll show you what you've been looking at. You can also swipe out of any apps if you choose. Now, there are lots of times when I want to split my screen. Maybe I want my class to be watching a YouTube video and taking notes at the same time. Maybe I'm writing notes. And so I want to be able to use both apps simultaneously. And here's how you do that. So let's say I'm using YouTube and I want to bring up the whiteboard at the same time. Go to your Recents button, which is the square, and now click Split. This is going to let me split my screen with the app that I was just using, YouTube, and something else that I've recently used, like my slideshow. Or down here is apps that you've recently used, and you can easily hold that down and just slide it up if one of these apps is something you'd like to split your screen with. For example, this is my whiteboard app. Another helpful way to customize your home screen is if you have a website that you continually go back to, maybe it's your school's website, you can actually create a shortcut that you can access the website right here as if it's an app. Here's how you do that. Go to your browser, bring up the website that you want to bookmark or save as a shortcut. Go to the 3 dots here on the side and click the Add to Home Screen button. You can name it whatever you want to name it, install, and let's take a look. So I'm going to navigate back to my home screen. Okay, it was put on my second page here. So I'm going to drag it over to my home screen. If I decide I don't want that on the home screen anymore, I can click Remove or Uninstall. Uninstall just means that I'm taking it off of my whiteboard, but I'm not removing it completely. Remove means I'm deleting it. If you want to customize your home screen even more by adding widgets, hold down at the bottom, click Widgets, and of all the apps that you've installed or that are native to the board, this will show you what widgets come with those apps that are available to you. For example, if you want a clock, an analog clock to be on your home screen, you can click this, touch and hold. Which one do you want? I want this one. Now here it is on my home screen. And if you decide you don't want it anymore, again, hold it down, remove. It's just that easy. I hope that this quick tutorial about your Promethean board has helped. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel at Advent Tech for more information about classroom technology.